Math 50, section 7.6. In this section, we're going to learn how to calculate simple interest. And interest is money that you're going to earn or be charged when you borrow or invest money. The principal amount is the amount that you're going to borrow or invest, and the interest rate is the percent that's used in computing the interest. So unless it's stated otherwise, the rate is in 1 year. So how do you compute simple interest? Simple interest uses this formula. Simple interest is equal to the principal amount, the amount you're borrowing or lending, times the interest rate. The rate has to be in decimal form, times the number of years. So it's in years. Okay? So our very first question, it says, find the simple interest after 2 years and $500 is invested at 12%. So how much simple interest? So the principal amount is $500. The rate is 12%, so turn that into a decimal, and for 2 years. So simply multiply those three numbers and you end up with $120. So if you're investing, you're going to earn $120. If you're borrowing, you're going to pay $120. Next one. This one's a little different because of the years. So it says a recent college graduate borrows $2,400 at 10% simple interest for 8 months to buy a car. So we want to know the simple interest that's paid. So interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Time, again, is in years. So the principal amount is $2,400. The rate is 10%, so 0.10. Now the time is 8 months. So you're not gonna put an 8 year. It's 8 over 12, which is 2/3 of a year. Okay, so multiplying these three numbers, what you could do is multiply 2,400 times 0.10 times 2, hit enter and divide by 300, and you end up with $160. So to buy this car at 10% interest, which is high, it's usually around 6%, it's $160. Okay, so example 3. An accountant invested $2,000 at a simple interest rate of 10% for 2 years. How much money will this person have from her investment in 2 years? So first we find out the interest. So interest equals principal times rate times time. So the amount is $2,000, that's your principal amount. The rate is 10% and for 2 years. So your simple interest is going to be $400 when you multiply these out. So now they want to know how much money will you have at the end of this 2 years. So you're going to add the principal amount, $2,000, to $400, and that's where you get $2,400. So that's how much you're going to get after lending money to someone to invest. Example, objective B, which is calculating compound interest. Compound interest is earning interest on your interest, okay? So in this section, you're going to learn how to use a different formula to figure out how much you're going to earn if your interest is being compounded. So the formula that we use for compound interest is the amount you're going to earn is the principal, and it's always the number 1 plus the interest rate in decimal form, the number of times a year you're getting compounding interest, and then this is going to be raised to the n times t power. N is the number of times a year you're compounding interest, and t is the number of years. Now n, let's talk about n. If it says annually, if you're compounding interest annually, n is equal to 1. If you're compounding semi or biannual, n equals 2. If you're doing quarterly, N equals, there's four quarters in a dollar, so there's 4 quarters in a year. If it says monthly, N is there's 12 months in a year. They could even tell you like 3 times a year, or they could say, here's another one, biannual, and then that is every other year, so N would be a half. So you have to read the problem and understand what N represents. Okay, so let's look at this first example. So $1,800 is invested at 2% compounded annually. So annually, it's once a year. Find the total amount after 3 years. So A is equal to, the principal is 1,800. It's 1 plus the interest rate is 2%, so 0.02 compounded annually, N is 1. So then it wants to know for 3 years. So first do this order of operations. You have to add 1 plus, well, first actually divide this, which is 0.02 divided by 1 is 0.02. Then add these two. So it's 1.02. Raise this to the 1 times 3 is 3 power. Whoops. So it's 1.03 to the 3rd power. Make sure you know how to use your calculator. So 1.03 minus this upside down V, raise that to the 3rd power. And then take that, hit enter, and multiply that by 1,800. And I end up with $1,966. Now, they have 1.02. They have a little different number.